Hello, Happy New Year, and welcome to season 4 of the Leading Yourself podcast. If you're yet not subscribed to receive updates of new episodes, please go ahead and go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and make sure that you subscribe to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is Carolina de Arriba, your host. I'm so excited to kick off 2022 with a new season of the Leading Yourself podcast. And I want to start this year with a topic that I've been really curious about lately. And it's a topic that has been in front of me for years, for decades, and I've never read or pay attention to the cues around me about this topic until recently that I came across it, and all of a sudden all the pieces of the puzzle came together in my mind. Today, we're going to talk about how to use the law of attraction to manifest and attract the best year of your life. Welcome to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is your host, Carolina de Arriba. I'm an HR professional, health and fitness coach, wife, mom, and above all things, a goal-getter. In this podcast, we're going to be digging into all things leadership, professional and career development, habits, and relationships. This is a podcast for those who want to become the best version of themselves. Those who have big dreams and are willing to embrace the journey and put in the work to achieve them. My goal is to share with you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you in your journey. So let's dig into today's episode. First of all, Happy New Year. I hope that you had an amazing time over the holidays and that you're starting your year on the right foot. I hope that you're having an amazing start of 2022. As you listen to this podcast episode, I'm just coming back from a little bit over 2-week vacation in Europe, visiting my family that I had not seen in 2.5 years. And it was the most amazing time. And I'm so energized, I'm so recharged, and I can't wait to crush 2022. And I want to start this season of the Leading Yourself podcast, as I said on the introduction, talking about a topic that has been in front of me for decades. And I never picked on it, to be honest, until recently. And when I did, a lot of things hit me. Like, I had seen all the pieces of the puzzle in front of me, but I couldn't see like the full picture of that puzzle all put together. That's how I felt when I started to hear directly about this topic and started to get really curious. And I've been reading to a lot of books, I would say over 10 books on this topic, and listening to podcasts and reading articles and blog posts and all the things. Like, I really have immersed myself on the topic. And as I've been doing other things outside of this topic, like everything points me back to this topic of the law of attraction. You might have heard about this concept before. I think it has been very popular, even though I had not heard about it directly until a few months ago. But I'm hearing more and more about it. And I don't know if it's just selective attention that now that I'm curious about and it's top of mind, I see it everywhere, or it's truly that it's everywhere. I think it's probably something in between or a combination of the two. But I want to start by talking about what is the law of attraction. And the way I want to describe it is that positive thoughts attract more positive things into your life, and negative thoughts attract more negative things into your life. It's a way of oversimplifying the law of attraction. Um, there is this book that I have been seeing over and over every time that I go to a bookstore, um, that has always intrigued me, that I always wanted to read, but for some reason I never picked up on that book. And the book is The Secret. I don't know if you've seen it. It looks like this old book on the cover, and I've seen it in so many places. And I was always tempted to read it. I really didn't know what the book was about, but I was always intrigued by the book. And it wasn't until recently that I end up reading it. And the only reason why I end up reading that book is because I had heard about the law of attraction, and everything that I was reading about the law of attraction pointed me back to that particular book. And let me tell you, I really enjoy the book. At sometimes I was a little bit I don't know, skeptical about some of the things that are written in the book. I also watched the documentary. So if you don't want to read the book, you can watch the documentary on Amazon Prime, or I'm guessing there's other places where you can see it. Just Google it. It's really, really interesting. And again, I was very skeptical about some pieces of the book, some pieces of the documentary, but the bottom line of this concept of the law of attraction is something that I have been practicing for decades in my life without knowing, and something that I've heard about for decades through people that have been my mentors, people that I have admired, people that I follow, that I read their books, that I listen to their podcasts, that I have attended to their trainings. They were explaining to me the law of attraction without calling it the law of attraction. And now everything is coming all together. So, simply put, the law of attraction is the ability to attract into our lives whatever we're focusing on. So, I mentioned in previous podcast episodes that if you want to accomplish something, whatever it is in your life, the first thing that you need is to have clarity, right? You need clarity around what you want. When I read about the law of attraction, and even I can think of things that go back to my faith as a Christian, as a Catholic, that speak to this law of attraction in many ways. A lot of the books that are out there, a lot of the articles that are out there, they're a little bit, I would say, um, like science fiction to some extent, and a little bit too out of my comfort zone. But I have rescued some basic principles about this law that I want to share with you and put it together in a way that help you manifest and attract the best year of your life, because I do believe that we as human beings have the ability to attract the things that we focus on. You know, Tony Robbins says what you focus on expands. John Maxwell also uses this phrase, right? What you focus on, it expands. And it all goes back to this law of attraction. And basically, if you want to attract something to your life, you need to really be able to visualize that and feel it as it has already happened, and you will attract it to your life. And let me give you some examples where probably you have already seen the law of attraction in effect, right? Um, have you ever been thinking about talking to someone, and that's the only thing that you can think of? And for a few days, you've been thinking about meeting with this person, reconnecting with this person, maybe someone that you haven't seen in a while, and all of a sudden pops on in your mind, and that's the only thing that you can think of. And all of a sudden, you receive a call or a text message from that person that you haven't talked to in like weeks or months. How many times you have what it's called a deja vu, like something happens in your life and you're like, oh my god, I feel like I already lived this moment. Or how many times have you want something so badly and it actually happened in your life? That is the law of attraction working in your life. And I think that when I read a lot about manifesting and the law of attraction, as I said, I was a little bit skeptical because a lot of the things are explained in this science fiction type of description that, you can think about something and it's going to happen in your life. You can manifest $10,000 and all of a sudden $10,000 are going to appear from nowhere. I don't believe in that, but I do believe that if you have clarity around what you want, you really are clear on what you want, and you believe that you are capable and worthy of getting what you want, and you take intentional and inspired action towards that thing that you want, you have the ability to attract that thing that you want into your life. The problem is that a lot of times, first of all, we don't have clarity on what we want. And when you don't know where you're going, any any journey is going to take you anywhere, right? Like when you don't know where you're going, any route is a good route. When you don't have clarity about what you want, you can't expect to accomplish what you want. A lot of people feel frustrated because they don't have the life that they want. But when you ask them what is the life that you want, they just don't know. So having clarity around what you want is the first and most important step, I think, because it's like, I want to use a metaphor here. It's like when you're shopping in Amazon, right? I think we all have shopped at one time at Amazon. And let's say that you're looking for a specific thing in Amazon. Okay, I'm going to interrupt very quickly today's podcast episode to share something with you that I'm really excited about. I've been talking for weeks, for months on how to end the year strong and create momentum into the new year. So I am going to be hosting a 22-day challenge for a strong start of 2022. For 22 days, you're going to be part of a private community with daily check-ins where I'm going to be sharing inspiration, motivation, tools, resources to help you have a strong start of the year. I've shared with you this statistic. Over 70% of the people give up on their New Year resolutions by mid of February. Beat all the statistics, join the challenge, and create the momentum towards the best year of your life. Go to the show notes of this podcast episode to find out more information and enroll in the 22-day challenge for a strong 2022. And now let's get back to today's podcast episode. I want to use a metaphor here. I've been into metaphors lately, but I think this one might resonate with you because I think we all at one point have buy something on Amazon. So think about you going into Amazon looking for something, right? Let's say that you're looking for a book. And if you go to Amazon and on the search bar you say book, right? You're going to get hundreds of thousands of entries. And probably in your mind, you know what book you're looking for. Maybe you don't know the exact title of the book, but in your mind, you're very clear on what is that you're looking after. And if you just put the word book on the search bar and you start scrolling through all the hits for the word book, you can spend hours or days looking and never find the book that you want and getting really frustrated that Amazon doesn't carry the book that you want. or how hard it is to find the book that you want. And it's just that you were not specific on what you want. But if you put the exact title of the book, or even if you don't know the title, but maybe you know the topic the book is about, or you have an idea of what the title is, or you know who the author is, then your chances of finding the book, the specific book that you're looking for, go off the roof, right? And probably you're gonna find the book on the first hit or just scrolling down on the first page. So the same is with our goals and our dreams. If you want something, you first need to be very clear and very specific of what you want. And once you have that clarity, the other aspect that is really important in this law of attraction, one of my key takeaways, and again, I'm going to take away the more science fiction side of this because I've read in books about, you know, be clear on what you want and then just believe that it's going to happen, let it go, and eventually it's going to happen. And as I said before, I not necessarily believe on that's exactly how it happens, but I do believe on a couple of things that I extract from reading about this topic of the law of attraction. Number one is that everything in this world, including us, were made of energy. And our energy, which a lot of people refer to as vibration, attracts similar energy. This is one of, let's say, the universal laws, right? And I think that when we are at a higher vibration, we attract people, circumstances, opportunities at the same vibration that we are at. Let me explain this a little bit with an example that maybe resonates with you. How many times you wake up and you wake up excited, energized, rested, recharged, you're joyful, you're happy, you wake up in a really good mood, and all of a sudden, everything seems to go your way that day. Like all the traffic lights were green, the person in front of you let you in, or behind you let you in into traffic. Maybe it happens to me today. We're leaving on a trip tomorrow, and I'm pre-recording this podcast episode because I'm not going to be able to record more podcast episodes while we are on vacation, but we're leaving tomorrow, and I had a dental emergency. And I called my dentist yesterday to see if he could see me today before we leave. And he told me, you know what, come at the end of the day. And before we close, I'll get it all taken care. And I was so grateful. And when I went to bed yesterday, I went with this sense of gratitude that he was going to accommodate me and I was going to get my tooth fixed before our trip. And this morning, I woke up really happy, really excited because we're leaving tomorrow on our big trip that I've been waiting for 2.5 years. And, this morning was so smooth. Everything went my way. And all of a sudden, my dentist calls and my heart like sank for a minute. I'm like, oh my God, he's not going to be able to take me in. And he called me to say, you know what? My next appointment was just canceled, was a last minute cancel. If you can come right now, I'll take care of you. And that's what happened. And I'm like, it's one of those days that you wake up with this high vibration, this positive energy, and then all of a sudden feels like everything goes your way. But I'm sure you also have had days that are totally the opposite, where you wake up sluggish and tired and maybe a little bit more negative, and all of a sudden, like everything goes wrong during the day. Like you spill your coffee, you were stuck in traffic, you got late to work, that meeting didn't went the way you wanted. We all have had those days. So, one of the things that I've been reading about with this law of attraction is that You can control your energy. If you are in a higher vibration, then you're going to attract high vibration because the world around you is going to match your vibration. And I know this sounds a little bit strange, but hope this example resonates with you. I think we've all had those days, those really good days where everything goes our way, and those days that not so quite, right? So, going into the new year, as we step in 2022, I think one thing that we need to focus on this year, and for me, definitely is going to be a priority, is to always raise my vibration, to start my day at a high vibration. And I have built my morning routine to help me do that. The days that I follow my morning routine, I feel on top of the world. And it seems like those days are going so much smoother. If one day I miss my morning routine, not so good of a day. So, what can you do to start your day that helps you raise your vibration so you have more and more good days in 2022? By the way, I am going to be hosting a Master Your Morning masterclass where I'm going to talk all about morning routines, help you build your own morning routine that serves your purpose. If you're interested, I'm going to put the link on the show notes. So go ahead, check it out. Hope you join because this is one topic that I love to talk about. And I'm sure this year we'll have some podcast episodes around this topic of mastering your morning, owning your morning. So then you can have a great day every day. So that is one thing. The other thing that I've learned as I was exploring on this topic of the law of attraction is the importance of believing, of faith, right? And for me, I've always believed in God and I have faith in God. And I think it's important when you have a vision for the future, when you're dreaming about something, which if you listen to episode 96 on goal setting, um, you heard me talking about setting smarter goals, and that one of those are meaning risky goals. So goals that are outside of your comfort zone, goals that today, based on your capabilities, based on your skills, you're not able to accomplish. Like you need to grow in order to accomplish those goals. So it is important that even though you know you're not capable of achieving your goals today, that you believe that you are going to grow and that you're capable of figuring things out and growing into that version of you that can actually accomplish those goals and those dreams, those visions that you have for yourself, right? And I think the other piece that I learned is that we need to lean into our intuition more often. I am a very logical person and I always trying to make sense of things and, research and know why of things. And I'm a lot into all of that. And I want to understand the why of things. And I try to rationalize things, right? When I make decisions. And I think we live in a world that is so busy and there's so much noise around us that we don't take enough time to slow down and really pay attention at the world around us and the signs that are coming our way. I remember when I was growing up, I went to a Catholic school, um, and you might not be Catholic. I respect whatever your faith is. Please bear with me on this story. But there was this man that was drawing in the middle of the ocean. And he started to pray to God for him to rescue him, right? To save him. Um, Imagine someone in the middle of the ocean. He can't see anything, right? In his eyesight, like there's no land, there's no boats, there's nothing. And he starts praying and praying and praying for God to rescue him. And all of a sudden a boat came by and offered to, you know, take him in, and he's like, no, thank you, but my God is coming to rescue me. I'm fine, thank you. And then a helicopter came and they're like, okay, we're here to take you home. And he's like, thank you, but no, thank you. Like, my God is going to come and rescue me. And I'm probably not doing a good favor to this story, and I'm not telling it the way it is, but this is how I remember it. This is something that I remember. It was more of a joke, if you will, but there's so much truth in this story, right? At the end of the story, this man died. He drowned and he went to heaven, and he's in front of God and he's like, God, why didn't you rescue me? I pray with all my heart. I believe, I have faith on you, and you let me down. And God told him, son, who do you think sent that boat and that helicopter to rescue you? And I believe that that's what happens a lot of times in our lives, right? We're hoping for something to come, something to happen in a certain way. We're so fixed into how things will happen that we don't pay attention to the signs around us. So when you have a vision, when you have a goal, when you have a dream, focus on the what and the feeling that you want to accomplish by that what. The how is going to come to you through your intuition, through your inspiration, and that can come from anywhere, right? You might be walking to work or driving to work and see something that all of a sudden sparks your imagination, and you have this great idea that is going to shape your dream. Or you're going to meet someone and they're going to offer you that job that you've been dreaming about. Or all of a sudden you're looking at a newspaper or a magazine and something there like sparks your imagination and you have the great next idea, right? We never know how our vision is going to actually come to fruition, but we need to stay open and flexible and make sure that we're slowing down enough to listen to our intuition and get inspired by the world around us. I think that is really important, and I feel I not always do enough of that because I'm always trying to rationalize things. And sometimes I need to let go of that and just slow down, bring the noise down, and try to just follow my intuition. I'll give you an example. Like, I had this vision of what I want to do when I grow up, right? I have this vision of what my life is going to be when I retire. And I'm so passionate about doing things like this podcast that eventually I see myself doing this. And, at the end of the day, what is behind that is I want to be able to inspire other people. I want to be able to help other people grow to their fullest potential. And I want to be a positive impact in other people's life. Now, the how that comes to fruition, like, I never thought I would do a podcast. That came all of a sudden. I follow my gut instinct to start a podcast, and here I am, more than 2 years after launching the podcast, every week doing what fulfills me, what I'm passionate about. And every time that I'm here recording a podcast, I feel like on my A game. I feel so excited, so energized, so fulfilled. And I feel just the way that I envision I would feel, but I'm doing something that looks different than what I saw myself doing in my vision for the future. So you need to have clarity on what your vision is, but you also need to be flexible and listen to your intuition, because your vision might manifest in a different way than what you were expecting. The other thing is that another thing that I've learned in all this research and all these books that I've been reading is the fact that one thing is your dreams, right? And a lot of times when our dreams are not fulfilled, we feel defeated, we feel as a failure. We talked about this before in other podcast episodes. But many times, what happens in our lives, what we complain about, the things that don't go quote unquote our way, might be the best thing that could happen to us in our lives that are preparing us for our true destiny, right? So I remember growing up when I was in high school, my parents moved, we all moved as a family from Spain to Honduras. And I remember how upset I was. I mean, here I am, teenager. I had left my friends back in Spain. At that time, we didn't have WhatsApp or social media or anything like that. That like we would write like actual letters that will take months to exchange a letter with my friends. And here I am in a different country. I remember I was going to a school, a bilingual school, so everything was in English, and I was not fluent in English at all, right? And I would complain about being there. And the only thing that I wanted, the only thing that I could think of was going back to Spain. And today I look back and I'm so grateful that we moved to Honduras because that, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have met my husband because we met in Honduras. You know, my English, like I wouldn't have been able to move here to the US because probably my English would have sucked if I wouldn't have gone to Honduras and be in a bilingual school and really sharpen my English skills. So, a lot of times life takes us in detours that we are not expecting. And we tend to complain and we tend to get upset because it's not exactly the way we had envisioned it. But you never know what that is going to lead you to. And that's where faith comes again into the picture. Like you need to really believe that if you want something deep in your heart, it will manifest in your life, maybe not exactly in the way that you were envisioning it. And that a lot of times life is going to take you through detours, through experiences that at the moment are going to feel challenging, that are going to feel upsetting, but that once you get past that experience and you look back, you realize that that happened for a reason. You will find meaning in those detours that life takes you, and then you will feel this immense gratitude for where you end up because of those detours. And talking about that, the last takeaway from this law of attraction topic and how to use that to manifest the best year in your life goes back to one thing that I've been doing now for several years that has been a game changer for me. And that is gratitude. The law of attraction also speaks to the fact that you can be grateful for what you have and where you are today while you're excited for what is to come. And gratitude is like this magic, right? The more gratitude you have, the more higher vibration you're going to generate. And the more higher vibration experiences, people, opportunities you're going to attract to your life. That is the power of gratitude. You know, the other day, I was doing a gratitude exercise that basically you had to identify 3 people that have been like really impactful in your life, people that have created this pivotal moment in your life, and then try to either think about why you're grateful to that person or write that person a note expressing your gratitude and most importantly why you're grateful for them. And I remember a former boss of mine, the very first person in my professional career that believed in me, that saw potential in me, and that gave me this huge opportunity. And I was thinking about this person and how grateful I was for that person. And you're not going to believe that. But the next day, he sent me a message in LinkedIn. Like, we haven't exchanged messages or talked to each other in years. And he sent me a text because he saw one of my posts, and he sent me how a note like congratulating me and how proud he was from me, and asking me for a recommendation for a podcast episode to listen to. So that is the power of gratitude. That is the power of the law of attraction. So to summarize, start by having clarity of what you want. Believe that what you want is possible. And then take intentional and inspired action towards your dreams, making sure that once in a while you're slowing down, listening to the cues around you, following your intuition, and being grateful for everything that comes your way. Because even the challenges that life throws at you are just preparing you to achieve that vision that you have. So I know this sounds a little bit different than what you're used to hear from me. I know sometimes sounds like a little bit, as I referred to it earlier, a little bit of science fiction and voodoo and all these things, but I thought to share because it's one topic that I've been really immersing myself into lately. And all of a sudden, as I said, all these pieces come together. Like, I have heard all these things before from mentors, from authors that I respect, from podcasts, from everywhere. And once I started to dig into this concept of the law of attraction, like, everything became so clear, and all the pieces came together to make this beautiful puzzle piece. So, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast episode. Once again, I want to wish you the best start of 2022. I hope that 2022 is your best year ever. And before I say goodbye, I want to share with you a couple of new projects that I'm very excited to start this year. So, the first project that I'm super excited to start as early as this week is the 6 a.m. club. Start your day inspired. I have talked over and over again how important my morning routine is, how important it is to master your morning so you can master and conquer your day. So, I am starting a daily club Monday through Friday, every day at 6 a.m. I'm going to create a little podcast episode with some inspiration to help you start your day inspired. Inspiration is one of the 7 components that I have been very intentional about building into my morning routine. And that is going to look like many days, like picking a random quote and speaking to what that quote speaks to me that day, and ending with a call to action or an invitation for you to do something, and letting that quote guide your day, inspire you through the day. Sometimes it's going to be going deeper into morning routine or a specific component of the morning routine to help you build your own morning routine that helps you, back to our conversation today, raise your vibration throughout the day. So I'm really excited to start this project. It's a big commitment because I'm going to be doing this every day, Monday through Friday, through the duration of the year. So I'm going to add, you're going to see a link somewhere in the show notes of this podcast episode so you can subscribe and join the 6 a.m. club. So, really excited about that project. I hope you join. If you are enjoying this podcast, I think you're going to love being part of the 6 a.m. club. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up for today. Once again, wishing you the best year ever. Thank you for tuning in to the Leading Yourself podcast. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you here again next week for a new episode of the Leading Yourself podcast.